Hi, my name's Linda Haas, and I teach rhetoric and composition at the University of California, Irvine. I'm also a digital faculty consultant for McGraw-Hill. Thanks for taking the time to watch this short video, which will introduce you to McGraw-Hill's new SmartBook. Understanding the basics of how SmartBook works will help you during your editorial review. SmartBook is an adaptive reading and learning experience designed to optimize the time your students spend reading. SmartBook combines an interactive reading experience with LearnSmart, McGraw-Hill's adaptive learning technology, which creates an individualized learning experience for every student. A powerful algorithm tracks every click a student makes and adapts the content and assessment probes to each student's strengths and weaknesses. Basically, SmartBook makes the reading process more engaging by identifying what the student has and has not understood, by reinforcing important points, and by tracking students over time in order to provide a refresher that will help them truly comprehend what they've read. Here's what SmartBook looks like in the first chapter of Engaging Questions, which is a rhetoric. Over the next couple of years, McGraw-Hill will offer all of its rhetorics as SmartBooks and will also publish a new writing guide for argument as a SmartBook. Each SmartBook chapter contains 4 stages, 2 that have to do with the reading process, preview and read, and 2 that have to do with review and retention, practice and recharge. Students can choose their own path through the material by toggling between read and practice with the book and brain icons. This feature makes SmartBook a recursive experience. Let's take a look at each of these stages, starting with preview. The goal of preview is to help students build an organizing framework for learning the material. It's a visual representation of what we have often taught students to do. Before a more comprehensive reading, take time to look at the learning objectives, main points, visual cues, and overall organization of a text. Here in preview, students can skim the chapter's learning objectives, major topics, or concepts in order to get an overview of what they are about to learn. Then when a student wants to jump to a given page, she simply selects that page. Now let's take a look at the reading stage. SmartBook highlights important pieces of the text for the student, again, helping him to focus the reading process and to learn to identify main ideas. As the student progresses through read, practice, and recharge, SmartBook will highlight different areas of the text based on the student's results. This is another way the system adapts to each individual student. As we go through those other stages, I'll show you how the highlighting adapts. Now let's move to the practice stage, where the student will answer probes and the program will adapt and interact. Every SmartBook includes a series of probes written by the author of the text, which will quiz the student about what she has just read. For this question, let's pretend the student doesn't know the correct response. She can select no idea and move to the next question, or she can go back to the text and refresh her learning. Each time the student uses the Read About This button, the system notes the student may lack confidence or understanding about the material. It will then customize all future content to help the student progress. Before we move on to the recharge stage, let's pretend that the student has had enough for today and has logged out, and now she's logged in the next day. Here's how the screen will look when she restarts the chapter. Notice that the student has now answered more questions and is now 69% of the way complete. If we go back into the read phase now and look at the chapter, we'll notice that the highlighting has changed. Note this green highlighting. This means that the student has demonstrated an understanding of the material in this section. SmartBook will continue to adapt the highlighting to the different progress the student has made, pointing out areas where the student still needs to do some work to understand, and other areas where the student has already demonstrated an understanding of the material. The last phase of the SmartBook experience is called recharge. This is basically a review stage that builds over time. The student can come back at any time and spend a few minutes reviewing what he read and learned in earlier sessions and answering probes to help him commit the material to long-term memory. The recharge function tracks the student over time and gives him a visual icon to illustrate whether or not he should return and work some more on these topics. As the student spends more and more time in SmartBook, the recharge icon will fill up with content that SmartBook has identified as most likely for the student to forget based on the student's interactions. That's it! Thanks for taking the time to watch this brief preview of SmartBook.